So we're going to call this video Milestones. Milestones. These are albums that I picked up in my 20s that changed my course of direction with my journey, my music journey. Milestones. So the first one is an artist that I had heard before I picked this up. I got this in '93, I think, when it came out, and I had heard this artist before, probably around '87 or '88. Video on MTV called Birthday, and the band was called the Sugar Cubes, and the artist was Bjork. This is her debut album, again came out in '93, and just amazing. I'd just gotten out of engineering school, audio engineering school, and this album, the sounds on this were just unbelievable. They still are. I mean, this album could have come out yesterday and it would still be as viable an album as it was so many years ago. My standout track, the one that I think of when I think of this, is she recorded this. It's like in a bathroom stall. You can hear the music kind of thumping outside like you're in a club, and then the mic journeys out into the club, and the song continues. So just stunning. If you don't know this album, bam, Bjork's debut, 1993. Again, could have come out yesterday. Wonderful stuff. Next up, I don't even know what to say about this one. I have to be gentle because the box is coming apart. Classic Jamaican stuff falling apart. The albums are stunning. There are 3 of them in here, and this is a box. The bottom has fallen off, so I'm holding it together, and you can see it's coming apart. This is actually not the first copy I've had of this. I've had several copies of this. I kept this one because the sound quality is the best, and it's stereo. There's a couple of these that have come out in mono, but the stereo is just amazing. This, I would describe this as religious Rastafarian Jamaican music, heavily influenced by jazz and some gospel, and maybe some soul, some funk. I mean, it covers just a wealth of music tastes and styles, and it's just so unique. My brain exploded the first time I heard this, and I keep coming back to it over and over again. The shame is that because of the format, the vinyl format, and I very rarely say this, but the pieces were so long that they take up a whole some of them take up a whole album side, and then were continued on to the next album for another 10 minutes. And it would be awesome, I think, if this were ever reissued to have it span the full length of the tracks. I mean, I don't even know if there's master tapes of this thing that still exist or whatnot, but just absolutely amazing. There's a release of this on Vulcan Records, I believe, out of England, that came with a booklet that had some pictures and some words about the album. That would be, I think, maybe the other copy that I would pick up of this, if for no other reason, just to check it out. You guys ever do that? Do you ever just buy something because you want to hear it and because you want to check it out, not because you want to collect it and jam it on the shelf, but you just absolutely have to hear it? That's what keeps me going. So, up next, here's another artist that I had also heard before in a slightly different capacity. I was doing college radio in the early 90s and picked up this CD sampler from Hollywood Basic, which was, I guess, a label that did mostly hip-hop from what I recall. But there were a couple of tracks on there mixed by Shadow, that I absolutely loved, and one of them was like a Shadow Mega Mix, and it was like 12 minutes, and it was just incredible, and I loved playing that. And I had no idea that it was the same guy as DJ Shadow until years later. So, DJ Shadow introducing an album made of nothing but other albums that this guy went out and hunted for. I mean, all the way down to the drum samples that he was using. All from other albums. I mean, bedroom production at its best. Just amazing. I know you guys love the cover too. The thing that makes me laugh a little bit is there was a shop that's gone now in Boston that had a shop cat. And I know the records that I have from there because some of the corners are dug up from the cat scratching her nails on the records. So, just a stunner of an album. Some neat things about this particular copy is a lot of the copies I've seen have like a olive green sticker that say DJ Shadow introducing. This has absolutely no markings on it at all. Nothing on the spine. No sticker. It's a nice gatefold. Came out of Moax. There's like a postcard inside and a couple of a nice sleeves, printed sleeves that go with this as well. Just stunning. Absolute game changer as far as I'm concerned of an album. Yep, down tempo. DJ Shadow introducing. Next up, another album that I came across when I was doing radio in my early 20s. Kraftwerk, Radioactivity. You know, if you don't know Kraftwerk, I'm not gonna talk about them. You can look them up on the internet, and there's plenty of other VC members who've spent a great deal of time talking about Kraftwerk and can talk about them way better than I can. But this particular album, just amazing, and especially the title track. I mean, this album starts off with a Geiger counter and just goes. I remember my show was from like 12 or 1 till 7 in the morning, something like that. It was overnight, long hours. And I remember putting this on for the first time. Not this one. I had a Capitol release record where everything was in English, and I remember putting it on, and I was just going to play like a track, and I just kept listening to it and ended up playing the whole album. Just amazing. Boops and beeps for boops and beeps. Very metered, very musical. Yeah, Kraftwerk, Radioactivity. Just love this album. Boop, 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 boop. Kraftwerk, one of my favorites of their catalog. Last one, and here's a guy that I didn't digest well at first. So maybe it was how I was introduced to him. But a few years later, when I was at school, I met these two guys who were from Northern California, who were coming to school to become engineers, and they were going to go back to Northern California and hopefully work at this studio where this musician recorded, called Prairie Sun, which was a converted barn, and it had an insane vintage mic collection and a whole room full of like kids instruments and funky weird things. So you may already know who I'm talking about, but Mr. Tom Waits. Yeah, you know, if I had to dump my whole collection and pick one of his albums, it would be this one, Mule Variation, which came out in 1999. This album, I mean, there's a couple of tracks on here that absolutely moved me, beyond words, and I don't think I could even describe it. But you know, his catalog started off very not slow, but very approachable, and got less approachable, and then somewhere around Swordfish Trombone just way off, and then this Mule Variations. Now this plays like a greatest hits or like an anthology. There's so many of his styles encompassed in this. It's 2 albums, yeah, Take It With Me. That's one of the tracks that moves me. 1999. If you had to pick up a Tom Waits record, I would totally recommend this one. It's got a huge catalog, big catalog, and there's some really amazing albums. But this one does it for me. Tom Waits. And whenever I think of him, I also think of another time where I was coming back from a party in Boston and was walking through the streets at night. It was probably 1:30, 2 o'clock, 2:30, something like that in the morning. And on the way on the other side of the street was this guy walking down the street singing, and as I got closer to him, he was singing, damn, the song is eluding me right now. He's singing Tom Waits, and I just remember I started singing along with him, and we were walking down the street, and we parted ways. Just had a moment there, courtesy of Mr. Tom Waits. So, just an absolute stunner. 1999. Huge catalog. There may be other things that you like. If I had to keep one, it'd be this one. So there you go. Milestones, albums that directed my journey, my music journey. And I hope you enjoyed this. It's the first video where I'm sharing records, which I'm going to do a lot more of. I'm going to start maybe breaking it down by genre or label, get a little more granular. So until the next video, I'll see you guys on the flip side.